right, I'll do it. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's a beautiful evening here in central Iowa. I thought we'd take a little bit of time to go over some information on some of our fruit trees. So we've got a number of fruit trees, and you can see in the background we've got them protected with a 6-foot chain link fence. That's a whole nother story. Might have to do an entire video on why that thing is there. I'll give you the cliff notes. We had another fence put up, but the material was falling apart and was not working out well for us. So we replaced it. We bit the bullet. We replaced it with a chain link fence. The garden itself is about 200 feet long by 75-80 feet wide, so it's pretty good size. So it was a big project, but we love it, and the main reason for that is keeping the deer off the fruit trees. So you know, I got 3 daughters. One of them's just gonna have to be okay with the wedding fund not being as plentiful as some of the others, maybe. Who knows? But good news there is my daughters aren't allowed to date until they're 30, so I've got time to plan and replenish that fund. Yeah, right, Dad. Anyway, let's get going. We've got a number of things that we've planted over the years, and of course one of the awesome things about being on an acreage is you have the ability to plant different types of fruit trees. So we're gonna get in here and give you an idea of what we've done for our particular space. So we have a number of different fruit trees. Today I want to focus primarily on our 4 apple trees here in the front. So starting on the right here, we've got a Sundance. Okay, so we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Right here we've got a Harrelson. Then coming back over to the right, this is a Pixie Crunch. And then this one here is a Pristine. And this is the one I want to focus on today. And the reason that I want to focus on that is you heard me talk in the intro, I'll get it done, I'll get it done. This tree comes ripe early to mid-August, which it is now. It's the middle of August, and we've eaten all the apples off of it except for one. So I told my wife, I was like, hey, let me get the video on this before we eat that last apple. And I've been telling her that for like a week now. So that apple's, you know, hanging on. It's still there. So I'm going to do this video, and I'm going to pick that apple and give it to my wife for work tomorrow. So this again is a Pristine, and this particular tree gets to be about 25 feet tall. So when you think about spacing, we were pretty diligent with our spacing on these trees. There's a good 20 to 22 feet, I believe, in between, so they have plenty of space. It's one thing about apple trees, they need lots of air and kind of space to thrive and grow. And so this one gets to be about 25 feet tall when it's all fully mature. Right now it is 3 to 4 years old, and it's got some good growth on it. I would say it's probably, I don't know, 15 feet. Some of those upper branches are getting to be 15 feet. So it's doing really well. Like I said, fruit comes ripe early to mid-August, and we had a pretty good crop this year. We had about 2 weeks worth of apples off of it. So, you know, not a ton. One of the first years that it's produced fruit for us. So that'll only get better with time. But, you know, the flavor of the Pristine is sort of a sweet and tart flavor. It's a nice balance there. There's kind of some spice, some banana notes, some green apple notes. They're really crisp and crunchy, so if you like crunchy apples, this is a good one for you. One of the things that is interesting about this tree is it has some disease resistance. It was designed and bred to be somewhat disease resistant. So that's good. The apple scab is kind of a common fungal that sometimes comes into play with apple trees, and so it's resistant to that. They do bruise a little bit. That's one thing to consider. Once you pick them from the tree, they tend to bruise a little bit. And like most apples that aren't sprayed with a bunch of chemicals, they get brown pretty quick once you peel the skin. That's okay. Those are minor things. But they do require cross-pollination. And that's one of the things here why we've planted some different varieties in close proximity. Again, if it's not a self-pollinating tree, you know, some of the ones that you see in the markets are self-pollinating, like the Brayburn, Gala, etc. But there's a lot that require pollinators. So if you're thinking about planting apple trees, you want to make sure that you have a pollinator in close proximity, and that pollinator has to be one that has flowers about the same time as the other tree, so that pollination can take place. So again, this is the Pixie over here. This one has a lot of apples on it, a lot of really good ripe fruit. The other thing on the pollination when it comes to apple trees is if you have a crabapple tree, that will also suffice. So you can plant a crabapple tree in close proximity, and that works as a good pollinator. So this Pristine has really good reviews. If you look at a lot of the nursery sites and stuff like that, has really good reviews, and we can attest to that. It's very flavorful. Again, it's crunchy. Everybody's different. Everybody has different preferences. But I prefer crunchy apples. My wife prefers crunchy apples. So they are nice and crisp. A little bit of a kind of a tart sweet flavor combination again. But it's a great choice if you're thinking about planting an apple tree. If you're thinking about you know, trying to get into maybe having some fruit trees on your property, this is a really good option for you. And it took really well. You know, that's a common phrase that I like to use. When you think about planting any sort of tree, how well does it take? You know, how much do you have to babysit it? How much do you have to like try to spray it for stuff? How much do you have to, you know, keep an eye on it? And this tree took really well for us. We didn't have any issues with it taking. Of course, we supported it, embraced it with, you know, T-posts and ropes, especially as it was younger. Those ropes are probably can get close to getting ready to take them off because the trunk is pretty thick. It's about 3.5 inches thick now. So again, this particular variety, we've really enjoyed. This is the first year that we've had fruit from it, and just a really great option. So that's the Pristine. Again, that's the Pristine apple tree, about 25 feet tall. I want to back up here a little bit, and I want to just do a quick sort of overview on, again, apple tree considerations in general. So we have 4 different varieties here, as I mentioned, and they come, the fruit for each of the trees that we've selected comes ripe in successive months, okay? The Pristine, I mentioned earlier, it comes ripe early to mid-August. I want to correct that. It technically comes ripe in July. For us, it's more like late July. But anyway, this one is July. The Pixie Crunch is August, and you can tell, you know, full onslaught here of fruit that looks amazing, and we're gonna have a good time with. This one, the Harrelson, is September. Typically, this year it doesn't have a lot of fruit on it. Actually didn't fruit for us at all this year. Last year it had so much fruit on it that the tree was like falling over almost on itself. It was crazy. The tree's only 8 feet tall last year. Now it's about 10, 11. Last year is 8 feet tall, and there was so much fruit on it, it looked like it was going to collapse. This year, for whatever reason, we didn't get fruit for it. Some of them produce fruit every other year, and that's perfectly normal, so we'll look for fruit on that one next year. The Sundance, so I mentioned Pristine, July, Pixie Crunch, August, Harrelson, September. This one is October. So We're starting to get some fruit on it, a little bit, but those will start turning over the next several weeks, and we'll have some fruit on that. Again, that's a rough estimate. There's variation in that. These ones look like they're probably going to be sooner than October, maybe mid to late September, but there's some variation with that. But that's something to consider when you're planting fruit trees, especially apple trees. If you've got space for a number of them, you can kind of decide if you want to have that fruit come all at once and you're going to do a lot of baking and canning or whatever, or if you want to space it out and you want to have different fruit coming each month. So yeah. Now, and thinking about the apple trees overall, I mentioned the spacing. You can see me kind of moving in and out. We've got plenty of space here, 20 to 22 feet. You want to have good space either direction for those trees to breathe. pH level, ideally between 6 and 6.5. You can get away with ranges outside of that, but 6 to 6.5 is ideal. You want to make sure that they have at least 6 hours of full sun, if not more. So they recommend planting them on the south side or the southwest side of your property, so that they're getting all that sun. We're actually facing south right now, so these things are wide open canopy straight to the sky. They get plenty of sunlight, they get plenty of space and air and sun, which is great. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about where you're going to put your apple tree and how much sun it's going to get throughout the day. Other things, well-drained soil. It's probably hard to see here. This particular soil kind of slopes a little bit. It is definitely well-drained. We don't get pooling of water in this particular area at all, so that works out well for us in terms of the soil moisture level. Also think about what variety of apple you're planting, and again, if it's susceptible to certain diseases or fungi. We don't have to spray these too often. We spray them maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, just depends. And that's pretty straightforward, pretty simple to do. Spray a bacterial-cide or a combo bacterial-cide, fungicide, to take care of anything that might be going on. One of the things that we do have issues with, that I think everybody has issues with, is the Japanese beetles. They are very prevalent. I was out here mowing the other night, they were all over me. So we need to actually spray the trees for those, and we use a product called 7, which works really well for those. So just some considerations as you're thinking about different apple trees, different varieties, different possibilities. I'll do a deeper dive on what else we have going on down the line here. We've got a dozen fruit trees inside the fence here. First 4 apple trees. Then we're getting into our peach trees here. We had to replace this one. I did a whole video on that I'll be posting soon. Then we get into our cherry trees. So we have basically 2 of each. And then we're getting into our pear trees down here. So we've got 2 pear trees and 2 plum trees. So I will do some future videos and spotlight those fruit trees. But today, just want to take some time to talk you through our different apple trees, specifically the Pristine. So keep that in mind if you're looking for a great tasting apple, a great fruit tree to have on your property. Think about some of those considerations that come into play. If you have deer, which most people do, how you're going to protect it. I'm not saying you need a 6-foot fence like we got, but you can do something like this. See, we did plant some fruit trees outside of the fence, so we've got some different ways of protecting them outside of a large fence like this. And I'll talk through how we did that and why we decided to do that, maybe in a future video. But as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting tree conservation. Please get involved in tree conservation. Please help promote tree conservation and education. I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel and help us reach more people with our educational efforts and our conservation efforts. Also, don't forget to check out the channel. There's a variety of different videos up now. We've got a tree spotlight series. We've got some tree care videos. We've also got our 70 tree windbreak video series with the updates that are coming. So a lot of content to check out if you're interested. And as always, again, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. All right, postscript. I was gathering up my equipment and I was closing everything down, and I had my back towards the fence over here, and lo and behold, there was a giant doe back there. It scared the hell out of me because it ruffled in the tree line over there and made a big noise, and kind of, I scared it, it scared me. I wish I would have got that on camera because it fit right into the narrative. I was talking about the fence, I was talking about why we have a fence and the purpose of it and the deer, and right on cue, almost a couple minutes behind, a giant doe looking for some dinner is hanging around the garden. And so, man, that would have been great to get on camera. And I was quite a distance away, probably halfway up the fence line, and I was like, holy cow, did that thing get in somehow? And thankfully, no. It was on this side of the fence, but it took off running that direction. So that's why we have this fence. It comes in really handy. We would not have anything to show for our fruit trees if we had our old fence that was up, which essentially was just T-posts and nylon fencing that gets brittle and breaks after a while, kind of that hard plastic type material. So anyway, missed a golden opportunity for a right on cue moment, but you know, we'll try harder next time. But there's a method to the madness. The fence, kind of obnoxious, yes, I know, but it comes in very handy, and we haven't had a single problem with deer since we put it in. So there's the postscript. We'll see you next time.